Alderman Demling,
Here.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Here.
Alderman Gartner,
Here.
Alderman Grady,
Here.
Alderman Montello.
Here.
Flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second. Hello, Gartner. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Michelle, do we have any public comments? No others? Motion for the consent agenda. Gartner, Grady. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Moving on to, just want to make sure we didn't have. Moving on to 7.1 business. Appointment of District 2 Alderperson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As you all know, we have a vacancy on the City Council after Mayor Vries was elected to the position of mayor. This evening, we have 4 individuals who have completed the application form, which is included in the agenda packet. For those who may be watching this meeting via the recording later on, the candidates each submit an application that gives some background information about their professional background, their community involvement. There's some questions about what they see as some of the strengths or weaknesses of the community, what do they see some of the priorities being. And then we invite each of them to come to the council meeting this evening to come up to the podium, just introduce themselves. And then if anyone from the council has a question for any of them, it could be a question you have for all 4, or there might be a question you have specific about something that was on their application form. And then after all of the applicants have had an opportunity to speak, the council would vote this evening if you'd like to proceed. You don't have to vote tonight if you want to give more time, but that's up to the group. And if you do vote this evening, it would be by written ballot. So we have paper ballots. We would have to have a majority, so we'd have to have 4 votes. So if we did a round of voting and it was 2-2-2, we'd vote again. We'd keep voting until we would have 4 votes. So otherwise, I'll turn it back over to Mayor Vries and however you'd like to proceed in terms of the order. If you'd like to invite folks to come up and introduce themselves to the council.
I'm assuming these are randomly listed in our
Yeah, yep.
So let's just stay with random.
Sure.
And Mr. Mayor, before you do that, obviously one of the individuals is not present, right? Do my eyes deceive me? Okay.
Okay. Darwin Miller, would you step up to the podium here? And if you would state your name and your address for us, for the record.
Hello. My name is Darwin Miller. I'm at 253 South Montana Avenue, so just down the street here. And I lived in the community since 2008. And for 25 years, I worked customer service directly with the public. And also for 15 of those years, I was a St. Paul Police Reserve, working with experiences and shaped in how I listen, how I make decisions, and how I seriously take the public trust. And in rural communities such as ours, city government is personal. It affects people by this council decisions, our neighbors, ways that we see every day. I've spent my career working with people with issues that are difficult and emotions run high. I understand how important it is to have respect, common sense, and clear communication and maintaining trust. I have a friend, Kim, that reminds me of that all the time. My service as a police officer has strengthened my perspective that I trained to remain calm under pressure, follow policy, and use sound judgment while understanding the human side of every situation. I believe the council benefits from people with practical frontline experience and people who understand how decisions affect working families, farmers, small businesses, and seniors who depend on the service. I thank you for your time and your consideration. And any questions that you may have.
Do you have any questions?
I do. I just want to ask you, Darren, first of all, thank you for applying. Just tell me in as concise a way as possible is how you view what serving as an alderperson looks like in terms of how you see the role, what you think its function is.
Basically, you know, kind of a spokesperson for my community, for my districts, you know, 3 and 4. So making sure that I understand that their needs and stuff like that and their concerns are met is basically the primary role. And then to convey that to the board. You know.
But and also, sorry, I'm going to ask you to elaborate on the responsibilities of an alderperson. Okay,
Right.
you have an understanding of what those responsibilities are. Can you just verbalize that for me?
Well, I mean, basically just we make decisions on how the, you know, like the finances and stuff like that there, and then, you know, take responsibility for those decisions that I would make.
Last thing, and just so you all know, I'm going to ask you all the same things. What kind of precise thing prompted you to do this now?
Well, I mean, as I said, with the open position, it is important to have um, representation for the district, whoever that may be. And then to make, you know, and then personally, I just wanted to give back to the community that I've lived here for a long time, and then, you know, learn to meet new people, and then get a, you know, a better understanding on how the city runs would be, you know, is, and making sure that um, things are taken care of for my district.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
Next, we have Jason Caruso. Same thing, if you would just step up and give us your name and your address, please.
I'm Jason Caruso. My address is 855 Summit Road, New Richmond, Wisconsin. I moved to town in June of 2015. I had the pleasure of opening up a restaurant with Tom Coop, my partner, Culver's. I'm sure you all have been there once or twice. And, you know, over the course of years, I've watched this town grow at an amazing rate. Public service is something that I would like to get involved in. I do not know all the ins and outs or details that are in the job here. I look forward to learning and getting more and more involved, whether I am picked or I am not. In the future, I hope to continue to be more involved in the community
So, again, as promised, I'm going to ask you the same questions. Can you explain to me your view of how you see the responsibility as an alderperson?
Fiscal responsibility of managing, you know, in a responsible manner. I guess is the best way. When I run the restaurant, I have a budget I have to stay in. Responsibilities, people that count on me. You can't take anything for granted. You have to be on your A game all the time. I kind of look at it in that way, Mike.
Specifically, why now?
Why now?
Yeah, for you to make this decision to apply.
There's no time like the present to get involved in local politics or position in the town. I have some time on my hands. Restaurant's running well. I have a great crew. I'm able to step back from it, and that I look forward to getting more involved.
Thank you.
And
Good evening. My name is Randall. I go by Rand Stanky. My address is 1773 George Norman Drive in New Richmond. My wife and I moved here in it'll be 10 years in June, and we've enjoyed living here the past 10 years. A little bit about myself. Let's see. I went to college at UW Stevens Point, majored in political science and public administration. Went into law school in St. Paul at Hamlin. After law school, I practiced law for a number of years. General practice, went into a little commercial law, did commercial contracts, leasing contracts and such, which was incredibly boring. Went back into the general practice of law, really enjoyed that for a number of years. Then I kind of fell into education. I was asked to coach a high school mock trial team in St. Paul for a high school back when I was a very young attorney, and I really enjoyed doing that. It was coaching juniors and seniors in high school, teaching them about the legal system, and actually putting some mock trial skills to practice, competing against other high schools in the state of Minnesota. I really enjoyed that. I was asked to teach a couple of classes at that high school, government, American history, even though I was not a licensed teacher. Nevertheless, they felt I could do that. I really enjoyed being in the classroom. I went back to school, University of St. Thomas, obtained a master's degree in teaching, and then later on an education specialist degree. I taught high school for a number of years, and I worked as a school principal in both St. Paul and most recently in Somerset. That's where I retired from. Now basically what I do is play pickleball. My wife says a little too much, which is one of the reasons why I'm interested in doing something else right now. I'm retired. I retired right after COVID started. A good time to get out of the education system, although it wasn't planned that way. I announced my retirement before COVID hit, but nevertheless, God bless the schools that had to deal with that issue because it was not easy. But in any event, since then I've become involved in the committee in terms of pickleball. I helped form the New Richmond Pickleball Association. We're now about 200 members strong in New Richmond. We incorporated that, did some fundraising, grant writing, and we set up 4 permanent courts over at Mary Park. Now we got the old theaters, an indoor facility, not ours, but in any event, we run tournaments. We play pickleball every morning. You come out there. If you got some time on your hands, join us. There's a group out there this morning. So really into pickleball. I golf a little bit. My neighbors, you probably know some of them over there, are big golfers, and I'm just an incredible hacker. But I go out there once in a while and golf with them. So I've got time on my hands. I never did for the last 35, 45 years because I worked as an attorney, and in school I also taught college, St. Mary's. I did some online teaching. So I was very busy the first 35 years of my professional career. But now I've got time, and we love New Richmond. And you're right, it's been mentioned, the incredible growth around here in the last 10 years that we've lived here, from the north end to the south end to housing developments, east, west. I mean, geez, downtown, BB Loft Apartments, new library, new water tower going up, new trails going up on K. I saw in your capital plan, which I read pretty thoroughly, and the annual budget, which I studied a lot the last couple of weeks. So I'm pretty familiar with the ins and outs of the finances of the city. And I'd like to become more involved and see if I can serve our community as an alderperson. To answer Mike's question, that's my reason. I'd like to represent the interest of my constituents over there in this district too, and also the city as a whole. And I think that's the job of an alderperson, is to act in the best interest of the community, particularly their constituents, but the community as a whole. That's the key. And fiscal responsibility has been mentioned already, and I think that's critical. A lot of funding's been moved around the last couple of years to work with the new library. I know that in terms of the annual budget. But in the event, streets seem to be our priority, and the infrastructure, airport, replacement of some vehicles. Again, it's all in your 5-year capital plan. So I know what's ahead of us, and I know the challenges, and I'd like to be a part of that. I think the job of an alderperson is to listen, to learn, to discuss, and then to decide. Questions? Any other questions?
Actually, thanks for answering one. I came up with two more, so
Okay.
I never want to let an attorney get the last word in. So, specifically talk about what you see as being define the role of an alderperson.
The role of an alderperson, I think, is to represent their constituents first and foremost. But along with that, the city as a whole. You can't do one without the other. And then, of course, to be fiscally responsible in terms of a city budget. That seems to be the primary job of the city council. They've got great staff, great departments. I mean, they're your resources. They're the input. They prepare the budgets and the capital plans, and the council goes with it and works from there. So I think that's the job. Act in the best interest of the city of New Richmond, what needs to be done.
And did I hear you say you formerly served in Somerset?
Yes. School principal,
Which building?
St. Anne's.
Okay, and how long did you do that for? Because I didn't see that, and that's what I'm asking, just so you all understand. I didn't see that in here, so.
Oh, yeah, I did mention Somerset. 13 years at St. Anne's in Somerset. And prior to that, I was in Roseville and then also in St. Paul.
So, just so I understand, would you say, when you talk about your working career, you spent more time in the law business or more time in education?
Both, almost equal. While I was a principal, I also worked as an attorney. I was in self-practice,
Okay.
solo practice for a number of years.
And then last question I have for you, you expressed in here that you have been traveling
Yes,
in the wintertime.
yes.
And I'm curious what your plans are if you got chosen. What are your plans in terms of physical availability in the months of, I think you said January and February?
Right. That's a good question. My wife and I, we travel every once in a while. Generally, they're 3 or 4 day trips, tail end of a weekend, Thursday through Sunday. We're usually back by Monday. My wife volunteers, does some volunteer work for church, so she has to be back on Mondays for that. But in any event, when we're gone, we come and go. I've flown back a couple of times to attend some funerals last year, unfortunately, and my wife stays in Arizona, so if I need to come back, I come back, or we just work around it. And if we're gone in January, I'm just hoping if I was on the city council, hopefully I could attend maybe one meeting remote, if that's at all possible. But in any event, I make every effort to be at every meeting.
That plants an interesting thought in my mind. I'm not sure if I pulled the members up here, how we would equate funerals with serving in the city council, but it ranks somewhere there. But anyhow, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I'm Tara Van Eprom Waldorf. Some of you might know me as Miss VW because I've had children of several people here, I think. I have been a teacher in New Richmond since 1997, and I moved to New Richmond in 2002. I currently live at 425 West First Street, Richmond, and I've been there since 2002. Sorry, what was my other, what else do you want to know? Just.
Well, just kind of in government experience, availability.
Okay. So I've been in New Richmond since 2002 as a resident. I have volunteered my entire time here. I don't know if you guys remember the Astec Carnival that we used to have citywide. I was the main planner for 7 years of that. I have been on the preservation committee here in through the city for 15 years, I think. I've been the chairperson most of that time. I volunteer at the Soar Farm. I'm the assistant manager there. I have been there for 10 years since they've been open. I've done a lot of volunteer here and there through the schools and other things. I'm I know lots of people, I don't know, I'm not prepared, I didn't prepare anything for this. I basically applied, I told myself if I saw an opening come up, I would do that. I'm about a couple of years out of before retirement. I've thought about what I would do next. I don't sit still well. I like to be involved in things that are going on. I'm well-rounded in terms of my belief system. What you asked about, what an alderman's responsibilities were, I think it's no different in some ways than teaching. I need to get all the facts before I make decisions. Things need to be done by looking at all of the pieces and parameters, and I think New Richmond is growing and changing a lot, and there's a lot coming down the line. Technology is making everything we do much more challenging than ever before, and there's things facing us we're not even aware of yet. And it's our responsibility to stay informed, to be able to make decisions that are not always liked by everybody, but are best for the community at large. I've seen so much change in our town in terms of the population, what we need in our town to support everybody. Those needs have changed, I think, over time. I look at the schools and how much has changed, especially since COVID, with our population, with our finances and everything else. I just want to be a part of those decision-making processes. I think that I bring a different way of looking at things because my experiences are different, because I am not really involved in city and politics. I never really have been, but I catch on quickly. I do my homework, I do my research. I do have a master's in education, literacy instruction. I was an adjunct professor at St. Mary's, so I'm used to working with all sorts of people, including adults, managing my time. Like I said, I do a variety of volunteer work as well as my job. Mike, what else?
Right, you actually answered my two main questions were define what you think serving on the council as an alderperson means. You've answered that. And you also answered the question about why now? You just seeing this as an opportunity to get involved. Unless you want to restate that or state it differently, but that's what I heard from you.
Correct.
That's good, thank you.
Do you have any clarifying questions?
None that I saw in here.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I think you have slips of paper in front of you. We have a tie, so we will re-vote.
Well, I'm going to ask the question that there's two people that have tied. I wonder if it makes sense to make those folks aware, then we can give them an opportunity to make another address. Because I don't know why a second round of voting based on where we're at right at this moment would change. So,
So the tie is Randall Stanky and Tara Finn. First, with any more comments, and maybe council members have some questions for her.
Questions, but
I would have a question.
Yes.
knowing some of the issues maybe that the city is going through. Parks and trails, streets infrastructure, vehicles, those kinds of things. Is there anything that you feel very strongly about that you would like to see different for the city of Norristown?
I know when I filled out my application, one thing that always sits in my heart, especially the preservation aspect, is, especially when I drive around into other places, is I'm very disheartened by the empty spaces on Main Street. And I hear that from people all the time. I don't know enough about business, like I said, to know what is causing that. I hear things, you hear rumors and things all the time, but I feel like more can be done to make New Richmond a destination. You know, people go to Amory for shopping in the thrift stores or the art store there. They will go there. And when I say people, I mean women. Women on a weekend and they want to go do something, they'll go to Hudson, hit the shops, have something to eat. I don't see why New Richmond can't be more like that if we had more that brought people to our downtown. Also, I don't know that we have enough in terms for like things for families to do here. Our parks need to be, I'm not going to say more family friendly, but not to be negative about the pickleball court, because I think that the theater as a pickleball court's a great idea. However, I also feel like it would have been an awesome indoor play area that would have brought people here. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for things that would bring families here as a destination. When the old grocery store became the mental health center out by Tractor Supply, I always thought at the time that would have been a great place to put a water park like Menominee has, with the splash pads and all the things. Again, our location with Woodville and Hammond and Roberts, and they are growing so much, but we are bigger. We could offer a lot more opportunities to bring people here and bring their business here, not necessarily live here, but they will come here. They come to the Walmart because we have it. Not everybody does. So personally, I feel like, and again, I don't know enough about business to know why that isn't a thing now, but I feel like that's an area that we could work on. I know infrastructure-wise, I've seen some of the things with, like, there's the new water tower being built, correct? And with our growth, I know that infrastructure is really important and the road work is really important, and we are going to need to be able to balance so all those needs are met. And I heard people say fiscally responsible. I agree completely. But that balance needs to be there as well. We can't shortchange one important area for another.
I guess I'll ask the same question of you, Rand. You know, the council has given to staff as far as budget and those items of land acquisition, improvement of buildings, parks, trails, streets, those kinds of things. Any comment about, you know, kind of priorities that you would like to see?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to turn Freedom Park into a pickleball mega complex. I'm just kidding. Don't have the
We're
money.
up for it.
Don't have the money. But no, there was a follow-up question that was emailed to all the applicants with regard to ranking the 8 areas. And I thought that was kind of a little test. And I looked at that and I thought, you know what? Parks and trails. And I thought, no. Looking at all the growth in New Richmond in the last 10 years, you know, population's gone up almost, 28, 29%. in 9 years. And I see all the housing developments, as I mentioned earlier. Where I am, there's apartments there off of A, and you got Dakota Meadows down here, and you got BB Lofts, and you got all these buildings now above the library and on the side. You got some new rental units north of 64 here, Fox Run developments. I mean, I looked at this list and I thought, what do people need? They got to get around, first of all. They need streets. And then I went on the east side because I saw in the capital plan that the emphasis is going to be on the streets, the infrastructure, and the underground, the sewers, and wastewater treatment, and those are the priorities. Got to have that infrastructure in place because that's what people are going to complain about most if you don't have it. So if you got to have a way to get around, that's your city streets. You got infrastructure, and if you got flooding in town, you better deal with the stormwater. I mean, those are not exciting topics, but to be fiscally responsible and to be good governors of a local community, that's what you got to do. And all these other areas, yes, we need vehicles and we need to improve our buildings and we need machinery and equipment. And I see there's plans for that. I mean, there's plans for $1 million fire truck. Saw that in there. Okay, and we got to replace a couple of police vehicles. Saw that coming up next couple of years. And you got plans for that for the next 5 years. But, is that going to happen? Well, city council's got to make that happen one way or another. So, I mean, the way I ranked them, we're pretty close actually to what I saw later in the capital plan. The top four were pretty much on the same page. I think my 1 and 2 are a little bit different, but nevertheless, it was streets and infrastructure and utility infrastructure. Those seem to be the priorities right now because you just had to deal with the library. And so that was a big expense and necessary expense. Tara mentioned the theater being turned into a pickleball place. That's true. There are 4 courts in there now, but there's still plenty of space. There's plenty of space for playground. I thought about leasing out 2 theaters in there. Could be a video arcade, game rooms, could be indoor volleyball, small basketball courts in there. So there's plenty of space in that theater building, and there's space in town for other businesses and for our constituents. So, I mean, there's been a lot of development in the last 10 years, north, south, east, and west. And there's more to come, I'm sure. But again, one of the goals in the mission statement was to retain that small town feel. That small town atmosphere was one of the stated goals in the city's mission statement and in the strategic plan that was developed in 2025, first time. So I think those are all priorities, and I think that that's what I'd like to be a part of.
I'll do one more follow-up, then we'll ask Tara to come up.
All right.
We talk about, we have some do you have any thoughts on how that can be done?
You've got people in this community with far more expertise in the area than I have. I mean, you have a community development team, right? Committee. And I think that they do a good job in working on bringing in new business here. What did I just see on a medical technology center is opening up into Richmond? That's great. I mean, you get new dental facilities down here. You have more retail across from Walmart, a couple shops there. Downtown, my opinion, probably a facelift more than anything else. When I drive through downtown, I think the outer appearance of these buildings could be modernized. Something could be done, and maybe the city could help with that. I don't know. I'm sure they could, because I spent the last 4 days up near Manitowish Waters and Boulder Junction biking. My wife just convinced me to get an e-bike. Didn't like the idea, but nevertheless, we loved it. We did 100 and some miles in 3 days, but went through all those small tourist traps, I know. Eagle River, St. Germain, Boulder Junction, Manitowish Waters. They're gorgeous. They're small, but their downtowns have been revitalized substantially. And they tore down some buildings and built new ones. Some of our Airbnbs, some of our cafes, coffee shops, small retail businesses. But if they can do it, I think anybody can. So again, some revitalization might just include a facelift, if anything else, to start with downtown, and then maybe to keep generating new business. Retail would be a big one. That's true. All right.
Tara, you want to come up and answer the same question, please? Fair to everyone here.
So as part of the Preservation Committee, I was involved in a lot of the decisions that were made for some of the changes that have already been made to the downtown. I don't agree with modernizing it. I think we've worked really hard at bringing back some of the historic value of some of those buildings. Some priorities shifted in the city partway through that, and some budget things changed beyond our control because the committee used to have a budget related to that. We had a facade renovation program with downtown businesses where they could get grants and partial loans. It was a big process. All I was involved in was determining who met the parameters. I wasn't responsible for where the money came from. Sorry, I didn't know that part. But I feel like we had come a long way, and there has been a lot, there have been upgrades made of the downtown. My question continues to be why those buildings sit empty, and if there isn't something, how we build relationships with those owners to try and get more people into those buildings. So for example, I think of next to the bar on the corner there, Newts and Oz, those buildings going north there. There's 3 buildings there, 2 and then 1 on the other side of Old Saloon that have just been covered in plastic. Those windows have been covered as long as I can remember. And the buildings, the 2 businesses that were there, one was a computer, came and went, didn't last long. I don't know why those buildings sit empty. I guess that, I don't know if anyone has asked those questions. I don't know if it's a rent issue, if it's a motivation issue on the part of the people who own the buildings. I don't know if there's grants out there that we just haven't tapped into because we are needing to look elsewhere and put our time and energy elsewhere. If I was on the council, I guess that would be an area I would research personally. I want to know what we can do and are not doing to make those areas, to bring people in. It's not just the downtown. Like, I love to hear that there's space in the old theater to still add other interests, to add, like I said, indoor playground. I think of all the younger children we have, the stay-at-home moms, what they can do, what do they do in the winter with their kids? The center is really the only option. It seems like there should be, and now the library, thank goodness. But there seems like we could offer more variety. We've come a long way with our parks. I love the walking trails. I can't wait to see how those expand. I know they've continued to add to those. Mary Park through the years has continued to grow as well. But I think we're not done. There's more to be done. And maybe we just haven't had the time to put into really exploring what's available for those areas.
Since this, and I'll ask Rand to come up and address this as well, but since this has kind of morphed into a discussion about downtown, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Tara, A, what do you feel the city's specific role is? And is the city responsible for empty storefronts, number 1? And number 2, where are you putting the downtown on a list of priorities of things that the city of Richmond needs to deal with right now?
That's a really good question because honestly, I don't know enough about the politics of things, like the business end of how a town runs. I flat out don't understand. And it certainly wasn't on the list of 1 to 8 that I filled out as well. But I also said infrastructure was number 1 and roads. And yes, I think that all of those are very important. But we also have to get people here to continue expanding and growing. Like I said earlier, it's about balance. We can't let one thing be left behind at the detriment of something else. I mean, can't we make a plan and make baby steps towards it. I mean, you can have a 5-year plan on how to revitalize the area. It doesn't have to all be done at once. Again, are there resources we're not tapping into that we just haven't had the time, the interest, the people, whatever, to really look into what is out there? Other areas have done it. I'm sure, I mean, you look at New Richmond, Stillwater, I know that there've been different groups involved in that. As far as the private, you know, is it the city's responsibility? No, but if we see a need and there's anything we can do to assist in pushing people in the right direction, or maybe not pushing is the right word, but in mobilizing, like I said, do we know why people are owners of those buildings are happy to let them sit empty instead of do something about it? Has anyone asked? I mean, it seems to me they're losing money if they're not renting or selling, or, I mean, there just seems to be unanswered questions when it comes to that. And I don't know because I don't live here, or I do live here, I'm sorry. I'm not involved in the business aspect of it. I just don't know.
But specifically, what do you see as the city's role in downtown? Specifically,
Specifically,
what do you think the city should be doing better or at all that they're not doing now? Just what are your thoughts about what the city can do, should do to help the downtown? And
I guess,
but also, where are you ranking that? You say, well, you got to deal with everything, but I'm asking you, how important is the downtown from your view as an alderperson, if you were one, in terms of city resources going towards?
I would say on the list, I would put it as a 5, going down on the list. I still think infrastructure, and I still think our, you know, the stormwater, the roads, all those things are still above that. I also think parks are important. They're part of, I see kind of parks and the city revitalization in some ways going hand in hand. As far as what our role is, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know in terms of roles versus responsibilities. I mean, I think we have a responsibility to recognize that more can be done. What our responsibility or role is in making that happen, I don't know, because I don't know enough about legally, I guess, because I think about with the Historic Preservation Committee, for example, like in that role, I can say, well, this is what your house, what you should do with your house. But legally, I can't make you do that. I can say, this is the historic way that you should upgrade your house, but I can't legally make you do that. I don't know if that's the same with the way the city is with, say, the downtown and private owners.
Well, specifically, I'm asking you what your opinion is on what you think the city should do. Not what they can do,
Okay.
but what do you think
I
it
think
should do?
I think we need to make a plan. We need to add it to, we need to make a plan for not just the downtown, but businesses on both sides, north and south. I think about if you start to look north at like the restaurants and things down there, you look at Subway, you look at, there's a lot of fast food restaurants, but people continue to say, why don't we have a sit down like an Applebee's or something like that, that more balance for families. So I think that we need to be more actively involved in making, like I said earlier, not a destination per se, but by making our town somewhere other people do come to go to Walmart, have dinner, maybe hang out somewhere before they go back to their community, if that's the case.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to just ask a question. Is there a reason why we shouldn't have all 4? respond to that question?
We had decided earlier that I have one more question, Tyler, and then we'll ask Rand to come back up and answer Mike's question. But asked about Rand about being available for meetings and whether he would be gone sometimes in the wintertime. Now, you're full-time working teacher and principal or administration. Some of our committee meetings are held during the day.
I am in the summers, the committee meetings, I am available in the summers without a problem. But otherwise, I am, right now, I think our time is shifting, but most days I'm not free until 3. So depending on what it is and where it falls within my schedule, I can at times leave for an hour here or there. If I know in advance, I can make arrangements for something like that.
Anyone else? Okay, let's ask Rand to come back up and answer your last question here, Mike, and then we'll vote again.
Point blank, I don't think it's the responsibility of the city council to revamp the downtown. I think there's a Chamber of Commerce, there's a community development program. I mean, there are people with a lot more business expertise than I have personally. But I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done, but I'm saying the city council should support those efforts wholeheartedly. So, I mean, if the community development resource people, committee, whatever you want to call them, those responsible for the community development plan in Richmond, the comprehensive planning, the Chamber of Commerce, again, they should all be available and tapped as resources if things can be done. If that becomes a priority, the downtown becomes a priority. Now, it's not on the list of 8 that's in the capital plan, because I don't think that's the entire responsibility of local government. I think it's to manage the affairs of the city, to govern the city. Getting involved in business and retail, yes, it's definite the responsibility of city council and local government to support those efforts, but not necessarily to lead those efforts. So that's my answer in a nutshell. Availability, I'll go back. I only flew back a couple of times for funerals because I'm getting older and people my age and people I know unfortunately are passing away. And so I knew them long. One was a boss from the past. I had to come back from Arizona. I came back the next day after the funeral, and I'll do that if I need to. I'm available. I've got a lot of time. I can only be on the pickleball court a couple hours before the knees go. So I'm available for your noon council meetings, whatever, work sessions. And I told my wife I got to plan our trips in Arizona around that or Florida. I'll do that. I take whatever I do responsibly, and I commit to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ask everybody to cast a ballot again.
Tallying that up, I would like to just say that I thank all of you for coming in and putting the effort and the interest and the care to come and apply for this. I think it means a lot. It says a lot about that district.
Well, it's a great district. It's a great district. Well, I can announce congratulations to Rand Sankey as our next council person. Appreciate, like he says, everyone who has applied, and we are always looking for help, whether it's on our committees or other areas that we're looking for. So if you weren't fortunate enough to be elected or appointed tonight, we are certainly looking for help on a lot of committees. We'd love to get you involved. Darwin.
Good way to learn.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, yep, yeah,
Doesn't
so
get to come
anyone's,
up here and sit
anyone's welcome
back.
to stay for the meeting if you'd like, but then, yeah, we'd coordinate, swearing in with, city clerk and onboarding and things after that, so.
On to 7.2.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before we get into this project and this amendment, I want to explain a little bit about a PUD because we haven't had them for a while. A plan unit development is a zoning tool that allows development that varies from standard zoning requirements, so a project can be reviewed as a unified plan, focusing on the overall site layout and compatibility with surrounding uses, rather than looking at it from a lot-by-lot perspective. In 2015, the city rescinded PUDs, meaning that no future PUDs would be approved. However, any PUDs specifically listed in our ordinance, section 121.9, would remain permitted and could still be amended. The Evergreen second PUD, which is the one we're discussing tonight, was established in 2005, and it was included on that list of permitted PUDs and therefore can be amended. This application was from Cedar Corporation on behalf of AEM Construction to amend the Evergreen second PUD to establish updated development standards for Lot 107. Lot 107 is a 4.8 acre parcel located on the southeast corner of West Richmond Way and County Road A. It is the only undeveloped parcel within the development, and it was originally established for commercial use. So this requested amendment would establish standards for lot coverage, lot occupancy, as none were originally designated, and amend the setback requirements. While Lot 107 was originally designated for commercial uses, when you look at the surrounding development in the area, I do see that now residential is more appropriate. You see residential development, twin homes and townhomes on the north, the east, and the south side. And just to give you a reference, we had reviewed the Cattail Villas preliminary and final plat, and that was another lot that was originally designated for commercial as a part of a PUD, but it did develop as residential. This amendment is being reviewed in conjunction with the preliminary and final plat that we'll review after this, and that's for 47 lots, 8 buildings, townhome buildings with 6 units each. The first requested PUD amendment is to establish lot occupation standards for Lot 107. The applicant is requesting a maximum lot coverage of 100%. Only the building would occupy the lot itself. However, the whole site would have a lot or impervious surface coverage of 52%. So on each individual lot, it would only be the building footprint. And so 100% sounds scary, but when you look at the site overall, it makes sense. The applicant's also requesting a minimum lot width of 26 feet, which would allow for the proposed layout of 26 feet by 74 feet for the building size. The second request is to amend the existing setback requirements for Lot 107. And this applicant is requesting 0-foot setbacks except as shown. And this means that except as shown, while each individual unit as a townhome configuration would be next to each other and have no side setback, the site as a whole would include setbacks. And so this is 25 feet from Ponderosa Lane from West Richmond Way and from the southern lot line, and then 10 feet from County Road A. As a condition, we have that the applicant would need to provide an exhibit to be included with the recorded document for this, which shows all of these requested changes. City staff and the Plan Commission recommend approval of Ordinance 635 as outlined on the memo and subject to one condition. I'm happy to answer any questions. We also have Alex Miller from AEM Construction here as well.
If I understand correctly, just looking at the drawing, and I'm not part of the planning commission, but these are, the way this is drawn out, that's 6 units in a building. They're up and down units, is that correct? Correct. Yeah. And again, I have kind of an understanding, but you can go ahead and correct me or verify. The intention is, while that really isn't part of the application, just for information purposes, these units will be for sale as owner occupied, but may also be used as rentals.
Like you said, my name's Alex Miller. I'm the owner of AEM Construction. I also have the Liberty Villas project. So the initial intent would be rent and sell. We'll probably start with the end units as far as selling. The first phase will probably start with just a few units for sale to see where the market is. And this will be 2 phases, so 24 units and then 24 units after that.
And maybe it's in here, and I'm sorry if I missed it. What's the square footage of these units?
The finished square foot's about 1,800 square feet. So it's 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, 2 outdoor parking.
And really not an interest in getting into your business. Do you know roughly what, as of this moment in time, what you envision the market price is going to be? Just a range.
Between 2,000 and 2,200.
No, I'm sorry, the price.
The sale. It'll probably be 325 to 365, depending on the interest rates and kind
Thank you.
of
The
where it's
reason
at.
I asked the
Yeah.
questions ultimately is because we just had a discussion within the last 60 days about PUDs and making more use of that specifically to address workforce housing. And Alex, this really doesn't have anything to do with your project. People understand with the PUD, you do have greater lot coverage. Am I saying it right? We have less setbacks. We have, and it's greater density.
You have options.
It's greater density. That's the bottom line. And again, this really doesn't have anything to do with your project, Alex. But the hope is, relative to PUDs going forward, that we're able to use that to try to address the issue of affordable housing in this community. That's really the thought behind it. So that isn't meant as a minus to your project. I'm assuming, I was curious kind of, and you've answered that, and I appreciate that. So I just wanted to mention that. Really, sorry, Alex, it really wasn't a question. So I am going to offer a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we approve ordinance number 635 that amends the zoning ordinance for Evergreen Valley 2 PUD with the one condition that the applicant shall provide an exhibit to be included with the recorded document illustrating the revised setbacks. And I actually have to ask a question of Amber, but I don't know if I'm out of order now that I've made a motion. Go ahead, Nick, tell me.
Can we just get a second, Mike, and then?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
I can breathe again. So, Amber, does this ordinance address both of the issues? You said 1 and 2.
Yep. So this ordinance will amend the setback requirements.
Yep.
And then it will also establish the lot coverage requirements, so the lot width and the lot occupancy.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Call for the roll, please.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
No.
Alderman Gartner,
Stepped out, unfortunately.
sorry, Alderman
he's
Grady.
Coming back.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Still, Michelle? He's back.
I have to wait till he gets to a microphone.
Got it.
Alderman Gartner, the motion was made to approve the PUD with one exception. How do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next one, 7.3.
So Cedar Corporation, again on behalf of AEM Construction, submitted preliminary and final plat applications for an addition to Evergreen Valley's second plan unit development, which we just discussed, to be known as Evergreen Valley 4th. This parcel proposed to be subdivided again is that lot 107, which we just amended the setbacks for and established lot occupation. The Evergreen Valley 4th proposal includes the 48 lots with 8 townhome buildings and 6 units each. Each of the individual units is considered a single-family dwelling from a building permit process standpoint. And those standards that we established would now carry over to this development. So for a layout, Michelle, if you don't mind scrolling to our site plan. Each individual unit is proposed to be 2 stories and just over 25 feet tall, which is consistent with city requirements. You also saw the exterior elevations in your packet. The development will be accessible via Ponderosa Lane, via a private drive that's 24 feet wide. Michelle, will you go down a little bit farther, please? Yep, so 2 access points there off of Ponderosa Drive with a 24-foot wide private drive. On the back side of that private drive, on the west side, there is a one-way drive aisle, and that was put in for emergency service purposes so we could get a fire truck around there. But the applicant expects that most of the residents would use their own individual entrance and exit. On the back side of that one-way, there's also proposed to be 5 parking stalls. As Alex mentioned, each unit will have 4 stalls, 2 internal parking stalls and 2 external parking stalls. And so in addition to the 5 visitor stalls, that's a total of 197 stalls, which equates to 4.1 stalls per unit, and city staff, upon a review, feel that that's adequate for this development. Ponderosa Lane is also a public road, so just like any other, if there's overflow parking needed, Ponderosa Lane is able to accommodate it. No parkland is proposed to be dedicated with the plat, and so the applicant would pay parkland dedication fees at the time of building permit applications. The applicant is proposing 72 shrubs and 13 evergreen shrubs, so a good amount of screening on both the north, east, and west sides. The only condition related to landscaping is that the city would like to see additional landscaping on the south side to screen from the existing development on the south. So city staff and the Plan Commission recommend approval with 23 conditions.
Motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll offer a motion that we approve this preliminary and final plat with those following, I'm not going to read them, 23 conditions that have been outlined.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
I just want to offer, first of all, 2 things. Alderman Volkert would be very happy to see the plethora of parking spots in this particular project. So you're to be commended for that. But kind of on a more regional question, outside the neighborhood, it seems to me that this development there exacerbates a problem we have at the intersection of Richmond Way and County Road A. And it just, we've been talking about the fact that someday there's maybe going to be a roundabout there. And I mean, it's a real concern. It's not your fault, right? It's just there's more development. There's going to be even more property there. And taking a left turn off of Richmond Way can be very precarious. So,
Mike, I will say that a 48-unit development like this, not accessing Richmond Way or County Road A, but accessing the probably is, well, not probably, is way less impactful than a coffee shop or a drive-through coffee shop.
but I
I mean,
think,
it does add, there's no question.
yeah, no, Mayor, that's really my point is, and it really has nothing to do with the development and has more to do with kind of where we're at with trying to address that issue.
Transportation, big problem.
Yes, that's all.
If I may, during the planning committee, when we were going over this, there was a lot of discussion.
Yes.
And as well as, or specifically including.
Correct.
That is really getting to be an issue, but I think that concern is above and beyond.
And I
Don't
wanted-
disagree. It just makes it that much more, brings it more into the light. That's all.
It certainly does. And
I
Any other
wanted to
questions?
mention that the county has a county corridor plan for County Road A. In that intersection of West Richmond Way and County Road A, there is a future roundabout forecasted for that intersection. And as was mentioned, that's outside of this particular development, but well known that it is a concern. And that will be dictated by future development, most particularly to the west of that intersection. And we did run this plan past the county. They have reviewed it. And there is proper right-of-way on both the north and south sides of that intersection to build a future roundabout. So that was also considered with this plan.
Thank you.
These are going to be owner occupied, not rentals, correct?
Will be both.
I have a real problem with that. Because I've got the same thing in Willow Winds development where I live. Bunch of duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes that were rentals, and they look like crap. Because renters don't care.
Yeah, Alex, you can respond.
Like I said, I also have Liberty Villas. The property manager is actually CapVest, who you might be familiar with. They have, I believe it's called Mill City, and then is it West 5th or West 7th? Anyway, we do take the exterior appearance pretty seriously. On Liberty Villas, we have sod. We have about twice the trees that we initially committed to, and irrigation, and landscaping around. So, I guess that's the best I can give you, is that it is going to be professionally managed. Whether they're owned individually or not, they won't have a choice.
If it's managed,
Correct.
that's different. But like the ones in my development, well, they're concrete sidewalks, and the sidewalks don't even get shoveled during the
Correct.
winter, so you're walking out in the street.
And along with having a PUD, as Amber said, they only own their unit. They don't own any of the extra land. Technically, they would own 1/48 of the extra land, but it's written right into the HOA and everything that it'll be professionally managed, regardless of whether there's individuals or not. They can't just mow their own yard or plow or do anything like that. So.
All right. Thanks. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Mayor Vries.
Yes. Motion passes. 7.4, temporarily suspending sewer impact fees.
Mayor and Council, the resolution before you this evening is in regards to sewer access collection fees. In 2022, we conducted an update to our comprehensive needs assessment, which is a study that identifies projects that are eligible for the collection of impact fees. From that study, a thorough analysis is done in regards to future development. The cost of that project, and from there, a fee is established that is then charged on new development. So impact fees are used for projects that have a direct correlation to the development that is occurring currently or in the future. Based upon those findings, we have been collecting that revised fee for the sewer portion particularly. And when we look at those on a quarterly basis, we're looking at the projects that are eligible for that, the total amount that we would need to collect for those projects, and how much we've collected to date, as well as our spend down requirements of those particular fees. So with the sewer collections particularly, we've reached that amount that we would need to collect for the projects that have been currently identified as part of the 2022 needs assessment study. And as a result of that, we're recommending suspending them temporarily until a new needs assessment can be conducted. And at that point in time, then we would be bringing forward that new needs assessment, the projects that are identified in that, and a revised fee structure associated with just the sewer access connection fees. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. The other impact fees that are part of the 2022 study, we continue to collect those. There's no change to those, which would be transportation, police, stormwater, utility, and water and library fees that we're currently collecting. So it is only the sewer that this resolution would be impacting. We are budgeted to do an updated needs study this year for sewer, as well as a few other of those fees that had new projects come in through the capital improvement planning process and that could be eligible for impact fees in the future. So we will be updating not just the sewer, but also a Parks and Trail one, and then transportation as well. And so those would be brought back later this year when those are completed.
Thank you. You want to put a motion on the floor, someone, please?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve resolution for temporarily suspending the sewer impact fees.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, questions, comments?
Rayanne, this PUD project we approved tonight, just using it as an example, roughly what would the sewer impact fees be for a project of that size? And I apologize, because I didn't really mean to throw this particular thing at you, but I just want to use that as an example.
I'm not sure what connection size you would have be coming in, but it's based, so sewer impact fees as well as water impact fees are based upon the service that's going to the unit.
Sure.
More than likely, they would fall underneath the residential side, so they're gonna be a 3/4 inch typically. So it'd be 1,000, or I can't read that far, sorry, I looked at water. Is that $960 on the 3/4 per unit is what would be assessed on that.
And sewer impact fees are determined at the time a building permit's issued?
Correct.
So, because of where we're at financially, if somebody does a project, and again, I don't, Alex, mean to pull your project into this, just using it as an example. So somebody, if they took out a building permit for all 48 units, it's a substantial amount of money that a developer would not pay. Right?
Correct.
And somebody who builds, let's just say, took out a building permit pre-June 1, they do pay. Post-June 1, they don't pay. And they don't pay until we redo the study.
Correct.
So my question is, and I don't think it's this easy, but I'm curious, you could possibly, I don't know if the math supports, and that's really a question, is to transfer in lieu of the sewer impact fee that the other items, because I thought law enforcement was part of that, parks,
It is, if we. scroll
transportation,
up
right?
just
So,
maybe.
so they couldn't be amended to basically make up the difference.
No, they cannot. So when you, on impact fees, there are very specific guidelines from state statute perspective
Sure.
as well, where you're identifying the projects that are eligible. You're identifying the portion of the project that is eligible for collection. So for example, you could have a project that is existing. So there's going to be a deficiency percentage assigned to that, and then there's a new development portion attributable to that. And so in order to change these other ones, park, library, law enforcement, the project would need to change. Or the projects that are identified in the needs assessment would have to change in order to change the fee structure. So once we've collected the necessary fees that are identified in based upon the rate that we're currently charging, you do temporarily suspend until you can conduct a new study.
Sure, I get it. And Lord knows, I may be the last person sitting up here that's super excited about revenue streams and burden that represents to developers. But by the same token, if you're fortunate enough to hit this window of opportunity, which could be 6 months, 3 months, anyhow, and it's substantial. Just using this particular development as an example, it's a substantial amount of money that the developer doesn't have to pay. That's really where my concern is. And I guess ultimately, I completely understand what you're saying. My frustration is we're sitting here on May 11th with something that's going to go into effect on June 1st. And quite honestly, I'm a little surprised that it's May 11th and we're finding this out with no time to react to it. Because had we had a study prior to this, right, we could have changed our fee schedule. And in fact, is it fair to assume, I know how dangerous that is, but is it fair to assume that the results of a new study, we're going to be collecting sewer impact fees after the new study's done?
Yes, we probably will. We have
Okay.
projects that identify and would qualify. Kind of some history on the sewer side of the projects that have been identified. We've been collecting sewer impact fees since 2002. A large amount of what has been collected during that period of time was for projects that have occurred, but then also the future of the wastewater treatment plant renovations, which have occurred. And so the fees that have been collected are paying the debt service that are associated with that treatment facility. There were not a multitude of other projects identified underneath the sewer aside from the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant, the North 4th Street project, and then some future lift stations. And so while we're reviewing them, we also didn't anticipate some of the fees that were collected in 2025 were substantial, and then into early 2026 as well. So from a timing perspective, we would have thought that we would have had a little bit more time into 2026 to actually, conduct the study and implement a new fee. But the timing of how permits were actually pulled, the revenue stream happened and occurred much quicker than we anticipated.
And just for the record, I'm not trying to say, somebody didn't do their job. That's not at all my point. It's just frustrating that it kind of reminds me, I think it was in 2012. I wasn't on the council at the time, but as I remember, the city waived, I don't know if it was impact fees or what they did, to spur on some development. And maybe we should advertise this, because developers will say, wow, I can save a chunk of dough if I get my building permit taken out now. Alex is over there. I can read in the bubble above his head, like right on. But in any event, that's just frustrating to me because, if you're a developer sitting out there and you say, okay, so somebody prices a project after the 1st of June and we're telling them, hey, there's no sewer impact fees, right? And so does a project, and developer talks to another developer, and he comes in, let's just say, and I'm making this up, the 10th of November, and we've done a study and we've reinstituted them, right? That's the part that's hard for me. So I understand we can't just plug and play. I get that, but it's just frustrating. We're going to have a period of time where we're not collecting money, and ultimately isn't about the money we're collecting, it's the money they have to pay. So I guess I made my point.
Do we know how long it's going to take to complete the study?
We're not doing a complete study on all of the impact fees, so this particular segment would have the priority to have it done. But typically, by the time that you do the study and then we have to go through the ordinance update and the approval process, it's typically about 120 days at least.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Denley.
Yes.
Memo, Resolution 052603, providing for the sale of approximately $7,790,000.
Yes, so the resolution before you tonight is the preliminary, what we call the preliminary authorizing resolution. Essentially, as we discussed at the April work session, the city has 4 essentially projects that we're looking to borrow for in 2026, sorry. It would be the refunding of our interim financing that we used for the library project, which is about 1.6 million. The fire apparatus replacement, our portion of that, the sewer programmable logic controllers upgrades, and then the water tower being the bulk of the borrowing needs for 2026. As part of this initial resolution, it's just authorizing us to work with Ellers to do the preliminary official statement, have a rating call with Moody's, and then subsequently issue the bonds for bid, and then bringing those bids back to the council for your review and authorization at the June meeting. So The timeline would be this evening, the authorizing resolution. We would have the preliminary official statement released within the next week. We have the rating call set for a week from Wednesday, May 20th. And then it would be coming back to the council during the June 8th meeting, called the sale day. And then that would essentially put us in an estimated closing date somewhere around the end of June, and then we would be closing or redeeming those funds by July 30th.
For a motion to approve Resolution 052603.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second the motion.
Any other questions, discussion?
No, I have a question for you, maybe Rayanne. Just reading in this month's issue of the municipality, they were talking about the state having specific loan program for water projects.
I can maybe. So we did earlier last year apply for the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. That's a DNR program. It's a subsidized loan. As part of the wastewater treatment plant, there's a similar one for the wastewater side of things called the Clean Drinking Water Loan Fund, which we've qualified. Based upon the project for the water tower, the DNR determined that was not an eligible project because they attributed it to development and growth. And to qualify for that Safe Drinking Water Loan Program, it actually has to be an existing deficiency that you're addressing as opposed to the cause of new development, putting that pressure on the community. So
Thank you.
we did go through also a second review request with the DNR for them to reevaluate our application as part of that. And they determined it was ineligible at that time as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Motion by Weinmeier and a second by Gartner. Roll call, please.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
2026 capital projects, radios.
This evening, we're just requesting authorization to move forward with the purchase of 3 additional radios for the fire department. They had 3 new hires. They have been having failures of their existing radios. We've been replacing those as they have failed. Also, this is part of the larger future project of transferring radios as part of the county-wide project as well. So these radios that would be replacing would not need to be replaced once we convert over to the new county-wide system in the next couple of years. So at this point, we're just asking for the authorization of $19,124.01, and that is to purchase 3 of the radios. Fire Advisory Board did meet on this, and they are recommending approval as well.
Mr. Mayor, offer a motion that we approve the purchase of 3 radios in the amount of $19,124.01.
I'll second it.
Second, any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner.
Yes.
7.7, requesting authorization to solicit bids for truck number 50.
So these next 3 items were reviewed last week, Wednesday, by the Utility Commission. 7.7 is in regards to staff requesting authorization to solicit bids. So this is listed as Truck 50. It's actually it's a 2017 Chevy Express. So you may have seen it's a white van that's used by the water department. So staff are seeking authorization to solicit bids. Those bids would go back to the Utility Commission and come back to the council, likely here in June.
I'll make a motion that we approve the.
Second,
Second.
made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, no, we better do a roll call.
Alderman Montello,
Abstain.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady.
Yes.
7.8 memo, request authorization to bid fiber installation.
So this item was also reviewed last week by the Utility Commission. Currently, we have our own private fiber line that serves the police station. We'd be looking to extend that to the water tower there to the southwest. So staff at this point are just asking for authorization to go ahead and solicit bids. Those will come back to the Utility Commission and to the council at a future meeting.
Mr. I'll offer a motion that we authorize the solicitation of competitive bids for the installation of fiber optic to the 2 water towers and 5 wells.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
7.9, motion carries. 7.9, HydroCorp Inc. contract.
This item pertains to our cross-connection inspection services. The city is contracted with HydroCorp for over a decade. Historically, we've just received 1-year contracts. In this case, we asked for a 5-year proposal to see if there'd be a cost savings by having a multi-year contract. You can see included in the memo, we outline what we would anticipate for continuing with the annual contract versus going with the 5-year. We would anticipate that over the duration of the contract, we'd see a cost savings of $4,775. So the recommendation from the Utility Commission last week was to proceed with the 5-year contract in the amount of $51,526.62.
I would move to approve the 5-year contract with HydroCorp in the amount of $51,526.62.
Have a second?
I got it.
Gartner, Weinmeier, any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Mayor Vries.
Yes. Motion passes. 7.10, first quarter financial report.
Mayor and council, we have just a couple of slides to go through tonight to highlight revenues and expenditures for the general fund. As of first quarter, we had just under 4.7 million in revenues collected, which accounts for about 46% of our budgeted revenues. As you can see,
We're gonna get
Yep,
there.
thank you. So the largest amount of revenue that comes in for the city's general fund is based upon property taxes. And again, that's collections that occurred during that first quarter of the year. If we go to the second slide, Michelle, please. Some of the other drivers for collections include the county library funding. That's part of the Act 150 funding. At $465,000. We had interest earnings of just over $100,000 on just the general fund. We also received just under $38,000 in state aid disaster funds through FEMA. That's related to the July 28th storm damage claim. So that's the amount that was just recognized in the 100 fund, which is the general fund. We also had reimbursements that went to our compost fund, our storm water utility fund, and our electric fund. So total funds that we recouped as a whole for that storm damage was just under $48,000. We also collected $56,000 in building permit fees, as well as just under $40,000 in right-of-way permits as well. From an expenditure perspective, we had just under $3 million in total expenses for the first quarter. This represents 28.6%. Collectively, when you look at expenditures as a whole, first quarter is typically going to be a little bit more than 25% if we take even sections of the year as quarters. And that's because there are some expenses that are front-end incurred and then are evened out or smoothed out as we progress through the year. So for example, our ambulance costs that we are a member of the ambulance service, that is a fully incurred expense at the first part of the year. And so we're going to see a little bit of an uptick in regards to percentage as a whole expended of the budget, and then it's going to continue to smooth as we move. Some of the other notable expenditures that occurred in the first quarter is going to be the first portion of the library building lease. This was $440,612. That was paid to the Community Development Authority to make the first payment in regards to that debt service payment. The second portion,
And that's per month.
definitely not per month, no. There is one more payment. There will be one more payment that will be made in the third quarter. The total amount of that lease payment in 2026 is $630,000. As I mentioned previously, the full payment for the ambulance service was incurred. Public works salaries and supplies associated with snow and ice events was just over $83,000. Street lighting costs to light our roadways is $70,000. The annual IFLS expense, this is associated with the library's participation in IFLS. This is the maintenance charge that's charged annually. That is a front-end loaded expense as well of just $57,293. Shared ride taxi had expenditures of just under $54,000, as well as machinery and equipment maintenance. A lot of that, as we see as an organization as a whole, occurs in the first quarter. $37,000 for our streets departments. And then we had some other additional expenses from our software renewal and support, plumbing inspection services, and then just under $10,000 in engineering expenses associated with our downtown lighting upgrade project. This next slide separates out our park fund, which is a newly established fund in 2026. Previously, park operations were reported both underneath the general fund and then also underneath the Parkland Trust Fund. As some of the members will recall, as part of the 2026 budget, in order to provide greater transparency in regards to the total cost of our park system as a whole, we moved it to the 155 fund. So it's combining operational expenses that occurred in the general fund previously and operational expenses that had occurred in the Parkland Trust Fund and bringing them together underneath one. You will see revenues that are charged through the Parkland Trust Fund include those from farmland leases, campground fee collections. The transfer in is the expenses that need to be covered through the levy. And so each quarter we're making a transfer from the 100 fund to the 155 fund to cover those expenses that have occurred during that quarter. So in total, through first quarter, we had total expenses of $122,000 for our parks departments, about 23% of their budget. Next slide. Here we just highlight a few of the notable drivers. Again, campground fees through the first quarter were just under $23,000. And then we had that transfer in from the general fund to cover the operational expenses. And then some of the larger expenditure drivers for the park fund particularly were utilities associated with Sports Center, utility, phone, and internet of the Parks Department, vehicle and equipment maintenance. Again, you saw that kind of on the street side as well as parks. It's getting that equipment ready to get into use during the busy season of the summer. And then we had a medical reserve account payout due to a retirement. Just want to highlight additionally some general obligation payments that occurred in the first quarter. So total obligation payments of GO, principal and interest, will total just under $2.7 million. Through the first quarter, we had $639,903, which is about 24.3% of our total debt service payments that were paid. The general obligation is paid through a variety of different means. there's about 57% of the debt service that's coming from the levy itself. The other 39% is debt that is repaid through rates that are collected from the storm water, electric, water, and our sewer utilities. And then lastly, we have a small portion, 4% of the debt that's repaid through the Gulf Course. All that I have for first quarter on a whole, very similar to prior years. Nothing really notable variances at this point in time. So things are progressing nicely as we are going into the second quarter.
Do you have any questions, comments? Thank you, Rian. Do we want a motion to accept this report, or are we okay with just?
It's just for information, so.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 634, order of business.
So this ordinance is really just updating our existing ordinance to reflect our current order of business for our council agenda. So you'll see included in the draft ordinance the red lines. So previously on our agenda, you had continuing business, new business. That's all just lumped together now in business. We also used to have the communications miscellaneous, where we've now changed that to announcements. So really no substantive changes, just making sure that our ordinances are reflecting what we're doing in practice. So.
Well, that comment in practice, I'm reading the first part here. Order of business, all matters to be considered regular. Special common council meeting shall be submitted to city manager no less than 1 week prior. That's not the way we've been doing it, is it?
So right now the ordinance says 1 week prior. So in this case, we just added that language. If the council wants to have something different, but typically I would meet with the mayor or council president 1 week before the meeting, review the agenda. We try to publish the agenda about a week ahead of time. We're not always able to get it out that timely, but that's usually what we strive for.
Questions? Comments? Look for a motion to approve
Motion to approve ordinance 634.
I'll second it.
second. Any comments, questions?
Oh, sorry, just clarification also as part of the motion to suspend the rules, as we're not doing like a hearing or a first reading, second reading, both for this item and actually our next agenda item too.
And would you?
I will second that motion, yes.
Motion's been made and seconded with the Demling and Grady. Will any other comments, questions? Call the vote, please.
Mayor Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Demling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to, motion passes. I would like to table 7.12, the board and commission memberships. Kind of want to wait to see who was going to be appointed for the council. Use their strengths to put them on committees that I think they'll be more valuable for us and for them. So I make the motion myself, Noah?
So this item is actually just in regards to whether the mayor can serve on some of the boards and committees, so not the actual appointments. But we can wait on that if you'd like.
Oh, no, let's do this.
Okay.
So. Table that for another 6 months.
No, we're gonna do this one.
So the council needs to approve yet, it's not on our agenda this evening, but the committee assignments for both for council as well as citizens who serve on the different boards and committees. Currently, some of our boards and committees say one alderperson, some say mayor or alderperson. And with our change in, for our new legislative session with the new form of government, the mayor is a voting member now of the council. And so we thought just for consistency across the board, that the mayor could be a member of any of the boards or committees. So if the council felt strongly that there was a particular board or committee that you didn't want the mayor to be on, this doesn't mean that the mayor is serving on all of them. It just gives you that flexibility when you determine those assignments. So included in the packet, you can see there's a clean copy as well as a red line version. I would also note that both for the library board and the housing authority, we added a little more substance here, really just for ease of use for those actually looking at the ordinance. Previously, it just referenced state statute. The ordinance just said there's hereby a library board, see state statute, and add the number, which then your average citizen has to look up that statute and look at, okay, is Richmond a class 3 city or a class 4 city? We thought, if we're updating this section, let's do it right, put a little more substance, again, reflecting our current makeup of those two boards, rather than just having people go on a little bit of a treasure hunt looking for that. So, so happy to answer any questions that you have, but again, this is really just when, at your next meeting, if you discuss those committee assignments, that the mayor or a council member could serve on any of them.
Questions? Motion to approve. Ordinance 636.
I would just clarify this one as well. If the council did want to approve this one, you would suspend the rules as well. Or if you want to take it as a first reading tonight, that's fine too.
I'll make a motion that we move to suspend the rules and approve ordinance 636.
Second?
Second.
Questions? Comments? Call the roll, please.
Alderman Demmeling,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Gartner,
Yes.
Alderman Grady,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Mayor Vries.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Agenda topics for future meetings.
When is the pop machine going in?
Ron's here yet, right?
Yeah.
Michelle, announcements, please.
Well, for future meetings, we did get a quorum for a June 1st work session. Just so folks know, I will send that out to keep it on everyone's radar. I think we were looking at a 6 p.m. and I'm not going to say which alderman said we should keep it short, but we'll do our best, Sir Grady, to,
Be on my far right,
yeah,
perhaps.
perhaps.
Any other announcements?
If I could, Mayor. So I want to thank everybody from the public that came out to our K-9 fun run this year. It was probably our most successful. We don't have the final numbers with the online donations and payments that we received, but the puppy yoga went very well. And there was a number of people for the walk. I don't have that final count yet either, but Project Delta was there, talking about the K-9 programs, different opportunities there. They got some donations as well. Coco's Heart received some donations. They were there with the puppies for the puppy yoga. Didn't sound like they had any successful adoptions that particular day, but a lot of interest. So thanks to the community for that, but it was probably one of our most successful K-9 fundraisers in recent past. And then also, just as a reminder, this is Police Week. So, you know, we're keeping Katie Lysing, 8835 in our prayers. Her anniversary, 3-year anniversary was just last week. I was fortunate to be able to go down to Glenwood City for that. And there's still a lot of hurt in the field for sure. So
Thank you. Anything else?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.